Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I got carpenters using tools that are burning through wood down in my kitchen, so I'm sitting in my daughter's room. So I can't take credit for any of the decor that is behind me, okay?
This is fantastic.
You gotta use that blur feature, John, on your Zoom.
Yeah, if I could figure out how to get that, I would have blurred it out, but whatever. That's a whole nother story.
I wasn't aware of that until I was on a P&Z in December, and I was down in Savannah because we went down for a wedding, and Greg Fettis, the civil engineer, was on the other line before the meeting, and he looks at me and he goes, "Where the hell are you?"
Yeah.
He was looking at the artwork in the hotel room, and he's like, I go, "Greg, I told you I'm in Savannah." He goes, "Oh," he goes, "You might want to try the blur." I said,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's a good idea." So,
Alex, how you doing?
Hey, John, how are you?
Good.
hey, Alex. Hi, Aaron.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, Aaron.
Hey, Alex.
Did anyone ever follow up on Fred Cook or not?
Fred Cook.
You mean
A
I saw-
recommendation?
No, with the last meeting, I was leaving Webster Point Road, and there were a bunch of ambulances at his house.
no, he you mean Murphy, right? Isn't that his last name? Or am I getting that wrong?
It was Fred Cook.
No, he did pass.
He did pass.
Maria sent an email the other
Fred
day.
from, yes. Fred from
I
our
was-
committee
too
did
bad.
pass away.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of maybe it wasn't a general email. She asked me and I said, "No, I didn't know. Thank you for letting me know, but I did not know."
Okay. Is his last name Murphy or Cook?
I thought it was Murphy, wasn't it?
It was Murphy,
Yeah, it was Murphy. Yeah.
Oh, it was Murphy. Okay.
Fred Murphy.
Alex, that's the first passing on this board. Don't get nervous. I'm
Yeah.
being a new member,
Poor
okay?
guy. I wonder, did we send flowers or anything from the board or the town? Somebody.
I have his daughter's email address. If you wanted to send a personal email to her, she was tracking. I'm gonna have to mute myself and scream at my children briefly, and then I'll.
Oh, come on, Aaron. We know that's your husband.
Can you hear them? Oh my God. I have
Yeah.
4 animals living
Aaron,
with me.
if you had a chance to send her his daughter's email address, would be terrific. Okay?
I will do that. Yeah, I think that would be nice. She would appreciate that, any words that you had to share.
That's a really good idea. I've been out of town the last 4 days, just got back this afternoon, so I did not. That's the only excuse I have for not having addressed it, but I think it was Friday.
She just let us know. Yes.
Yeah, it was just Friday. Yeah, Friday morning that I heard. So.
I think Peter said he was coming today.
Yes, it did. Yep.
Well, see, now I get to go through my daughter's drawers while I'm up here. Oh boy. Okay. She's
Walking a fine
yelled
line.
at.
she's in London for the whole semester, so it's not a big deal.
Maybe she watches these.
Yeah, right, right.
I've never quite figured out why, if you're going to cut wood, why you wouldn't want to have the sharpest blade possible. So I put all new countertops in my kitchen, and now they're doing a new siding or something. So the guy that's here cutting it is using a blade that obviously hasn't been sharpened in 20 years because the house is full of smoke.
Jesus.
Your alarm's going off yet?
It's just about ready to. When you hear the alarm goes up, then I'm going to walk outside to my garage. Whatever.
Okay, so let's see. We still need one more for a quorum, right?
Should
That's
we
what we're
email
looking for.
Peter?
Do we need, we've done
How
meetings
many
with
do we
three,
have? Let's see.
but I'm not sure what the rule is.
I think
We only
three
have
makes a
5
quorum.
members.
Yeah.
Let me look.
He texted at 4:30 saying he'd be here.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, Ron's here.
Oh, good.
Let me promote him over. He just showed up. Okay, excellent. So we're good.
There he is. Hey, Ron,
Hi, Ron.
Hi, Ron.
Ron, how you doing?
you're muted, Ron.
Ron, can you see that? Now,
How's that?
Yeah,
There.
perfect.
better.
That's
much better.
good. There we go.
Thank you.
Okay,
Do we
well,
wanna s-
we're ready to start when you are, Mr. Chair.
All right, well,
I'll
why
just
don't we start and hopefully
record.
Peter will chime in here in a minute. Okay, so I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is ACA, the Advisory Committee and Community Appearance. Our Tuesday, March 14th meeting, and what we try to do is assist if we can or is appropriate, or sometimes it's very appropriate. Help people produce or execute better projects or better looking projects. So we're just advisory, and we are here at the request primarily of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So, well, it would help if I turn that off. That's actually Peter. I'm just going to
He
answer
said
it.
he said he's logging in through the town website. He wasn't able to, or didn't get the Zoom link.
Okay, I'm not going to answer it. So the first application on the list is 33 Wilshire Lane, map 39, lot 87, owner Ann Scott, applicant P&M Builders, regulated activity permit for addition to a sunroom. So this must be one of the condominiums, either over at Windermere or Kensington or one of those.
It is, exactly. The applicant's contractor, Mike Doman, is here from P&M Builders to kind of walk you through. This is one of these projects that, although this is a site plan modification, this is it's behind the building, but technically checks the boxes and requires ACA review prior to the zoning administrator being able to approve this administratively instead of having to go to the full committee or full commission, excuse me. So it really is a very simple project for converting a sunroom into a year-round heated space and expanding that rear addition. So Mike, are you here? Can you, I see that you moved over. Can you hear us fine?
Yes,
Okay. So I'm happy to screen share for you to show everybody where this is. This is in Kensington, correct?
yes.
Okay. So I'll quick screen share for you so that you can see the documents and just kind of see where we are. This is number 33, which is at the end of the cul-de-sac, little area here. The existing rear of the building looks as such. And this is the subject space that's going to be expanded here over existing patio. And pardon my scrolling, but I will quick show you. Here's the Google Earth that shows the expanded patio area and the existing 3-season room. And this is the addition that will come off the back. It'll be the same materials, same style windows, and that's pretty much it. No visible changes from the front elevation as it's located fully in the back of the property. This also does require inland wetlands approval because it is a regulated activity adjacent to wetlands out in the back. So he's got to go before both agencies here. Any questions? This is kind of a no-brainer, I think.
I don't have any questions. Does anybody else?
No,
No,
Okay.
Matt, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I second that.
Any discussion? No?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, wonderful. Mike, that was easy and painless for you.
Okay.
On to your
Thank you
your
very
next
much.
step. Thank you. And
I'll
hopefully
talk
as,
to you tomorrow.
yes. And then hopefully as we update any zoning regulations, maybe we can come up with some language to not have to avoid this process so that they don't have to, especially for a rear addition, to have to jump through hoops here for approval. Okay, thank you. Next one, let me get our, go ahead.
Yeah, that's good.
Matt,
And
sorry.
next is 14 New Road, Light Industrial Zone, Precision X-Ray Inc. application for site plan modification to construct 4,170 square foot addition to existing manufacturing building with associated site improvements. Is there anyone here to present this?
Yes, we have the applicant's team for Precision X-Ray. We have Mark Davis is the professional engineer, civil engineer, Del Simmons, yep, he's coming over as a panelist, can speak to the architecturals, and Matt Pop is our landscape architect, correct? Is there anyone else on your team, Mark, that I didn't bring over that you're expecting?
I think there's a couple other folks from Munger, perhaps. There's a Mike Cromier.
Yep. We can bring,
And Rich Greenwalch.
Rich, you said? Okay, I don't see Rich
Not
here.
him or Dave DeMayo.
But
perhaps.
Michael is, okay, but Michael is here.
Okay.
Okay, where is, and Dell did not move over. Let's see. Let's see if he can come. I don't know if there's a lag or what's happening here.
I'm seeing him now.
Yep, Dell and Michael also said he was coming over. Here's Dell. Let's try Michael again.
And I'm on, even though my picture is not. Peter is here. I'm here, but no picture.
Oh, hi, Peter.
Hi.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, Dell.
Hey, Ron.
And
Long time no see.
Yeah, good to see you.
so, Mark, did you want to introduce or Del, how do you want to present here? Are you able to screen share or do you need staff to screen share documents for
I'll
you?
need the staff to screen share. I guess just real quick. Just explain that we're, again, 14 New Road Precision X-Ray. It's the old, what's the Garrity building that folks have moved into, and they want to dress it up and make it look more like to represent the the technology company that they are. And with the team here, we've got again, Dell is the architect, and we've got Mike Cormier also from Munger Construction that are working on they're doing designing the addition. And then Matt Pop is the landscape architect. I'm the civil engineer, so I've designed all the infrastructure and stuff that gets buried to support the the attractive designs that these other fellows are doing. But with that, I guess Dell, if you're prepared to present what we're doing, we should probably move to that.
Yes, I am. So if you can give me the screen, Erin.
You should have permission.
Okay, good.
And Del, I understand I received a voicemail from you indicating that you were changing the scope of the project.
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. So we're all seeing this for the first time.
Okay. Well, let me get rid of this. Okay, here we are. So, as Mark said, we have a new technology building here that we're working on, where we've got the addition to the existing Garrity building. And it's around a 4,000 square foot addition. And the original plan was going to be a 2-story addition, as it's shown here. However, what we've done, due to budget requirements, we knocked this whole upper section off, and we're going to go to a 1-story building.
Can you mute us?
So what I want to do is I want to share my other screen. And this is the new, oops. There you are. So this is our new 1-story cross section. To bring you this is what the building looks like right now. The front entrance. This is the north elevation. As we walk around, this is an addition that was built by Munger Construction in 1998. We continue to walk around the building. This is the east side of the building. And you can see here that we've got, it really looks like an industrial building. And so what we want to do is we really want to upgrade this image. Here's the rear side again. And going around back to the west side, here we are. So if you peek through the trees, New Road, as you know, as you head down New Road, there's quite a tree barrier between the road and the building. If you peek through, this is what you see. Here's the existing entry in. Here's down here is the existing Munger addition. It was built in 1998. And then this is the additional piece of office building that's in the front. In the background, you can see the 2-story storage area. And so this is what it looks like now, and this is what we want. This is the rendering of what it will look like. And what I want to say is everything that I marched around the back and we saw around the back side, including this 2-story area here, is all going to receive new siding. So when this building is completed, every elevation, new material, and there will be basically 3 materials, and they're all going to be coming from Morin Corporation out in Bristol, Connecticut. And there are 3 types of siding. Now what I'm going to talk about, this from this new entrance this way, this is all an existing masonry building right now, brick. That's going to receive new siding. The existing windows are going to remain. The upper area, this soffit here, will replace the existing soffit that's there. And then that level will carry all the way across to the west end of the building. Now, there are, again, 3 materials. One is a vertical metal siding. It's a rib, it's a 12-inch metal siding, and it looks like this. with a rib. You can see the rib that's shining there in the reflection. That's this area up and back, as well as this area that over here on the side, around the existing building, okay? Now, this material up here on the top, that is going to be a Bristol black. However, it changes from a 12-inch wide to an 8-inch wide with a 2-inch reveal. And what we're intending to use there is two types of black. It's called Bristol black, and it has a gloss and a matte finish. So if I zoom in here, this is the matte, and this will be gloss, matte gloss. Now I'll show you a photograph of a blow up of that same material. And that is an existing building that has it. And you can see, here is the matte, here's the gloss, matte, gloss. Now this happens to be in an afternoon western exposure sunset, so it's got a bit of a glow to it. So our renderer, we also captured that same glow to show that it is in fact two tones of black, one a glass and then one a matte. So that's that material. And this material right here, as you can see, is a horizontal panel. That horizontal panel is going to be made of an aluminum product. And there it is right there. It's a panel that is, the edges are bent back. So it's a folded plate that has about an 1/8 of an inch gap between it. So between it and the next panel. So there you can see it. There's your gap, there's the panel, and there's the gap. And that's one section, that would be another section right there. So we have now this one material, we have this material, and we have this material. Those are the three materials. Now let's go to this, the colors. The colors that we're talking about for the production area around the building. Now, we all know that you take a picture of a colored shot and you put it on, everybody in this presentation probably sees a different color because your video cards are different. So we will be delivering panel materials to you, as well as a colored rendering. We can deliver it tomorrow so you can see the actual samples. But the samples are going to be, this is the Bristol black that's going to be in the matte and the gloss. The lower, and I'll just so that you understand it, I'll go back to the rendering again. That's this color. This color right here is called the dark bronze. And that is this color right here. And then the third color is the zinc gray. I'm going back to my rendering again. That's this color right here. And this color up here. Okay, so there's my three different materials. This is, let's see. The soffit is aluminum. The gray, the zinc gray is a galvalume. And these pieces right here are aluminum. And then they all have a finish, a painted finish. So let's see, we did the colors. And now these are the actual panels. This is the MX6. This is this one that I held up here. This is going to be at the production area. This is the wrong color. This is not. This is going to be the gray. And the color that you're seeing on your screen is also the wrong color. This is the right color.
Jeremy Blackshear.
I'm a popular guy today. Okay, so let's see, we've got our colors. We've got our panels. Now, this, as I mentioned, this one right here, this is the MX6 for the rear of the building. This is the soffit, which is an MX8, and it's a 10-inch with a 2-inch reveal. And then this one right here is the one that's folded. Oops, this one right here, this MX6 is also one that is used, this aluminum, it will be folded to create this panel right here. Now, let's go to the elevations. So here we are. This is a one-story building. This is the existing Munger building that will be renovated, fully renovated, with the exception, well, it'll be gutted, and the windows will be kept. It will be new siding, and we'll have a new soffit all the way across. And this one story right here shows the open office floor area. This is an existing portion of the building that will remain. There's a new cafe here, and these are offices and offices. This is the large production area behind, which is not a part of the project except for siding. And this is the elevation that you saw there. So let's take a look here to see it, to give you the benefit of the rendering, which really tells it all. And it gives you the closest approximation to the actual building. So there's our elevation. This is the west side. This is all the new siding that we talked about. This is all going to be glass, by the way. The entrance is all going to be glass. And this shows the west side. This is where that cafe is. This is the east side. This is the back side. All these loading dock doors will be replaced. This whole area, this whole area has new siding. This is the south side of the existing building. And then this is the rear of the existing Munger construction building, which will have new siding as well. And this is the west side, the east side of the one-story building, the one-story existing Munger building. So, as far as appearance goes, those are the components. Let's go back here, bring it to this point, and then I can answer questions that you may have.
So Dell,
Dell, Dell,
can you hear me?
I have a
Yes,
question.
yes, I can.
Dell, I have a question. The colors that you showed are primarily gray and black. Is that the way you perceive it?
They are let's go back to them, Ron, for a second here and look at them together. Our colors. This, and you will have a sample of this. This is a dark bronze.
So
this is a gray, and this is black. So you have black, gray, and dark bronze.
So I'm just, so the bronze, I guess my question is, do you feel that there's enough contrast between the bronze and the black?
Let's have a look here. And there it is
really,
there.
That's a bad example,
Well,
isn't it?
I think, Ron, when you have the actual samples in your hand, you'll see that there's a better contrast than what you have.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, and you will have those tomorrow in your hand. It's really hard for me to do that because
okay. Yeah, I guess on the screen it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
So Dell,
Yes.
Dell, I have a
Hi,
question.
Sure.
Hi, by the way,
Hi.
you can't see me. My computer won't allow me to visit by image, so I'm here anyway.
Good to hear you, Peter.
Okay, so I'm looking at the Zoom,
The floor plan?
no, I'm looking at Google Earth or Google, and I can see the black roof, which is the main manufacturer. There's the thing poking forward that's going to be glass, and to the east is that 98 addition.
Yeah.
To the west, there are three pieces of white that don't go all the way to the edge of the building. Is that something that's going to be torn down or?
I'm not sure exactly what you're looking at. Right now, if I go back to, this building is being expanded.
Yeah,
The building is being expanded. This from here to here. Let's see, if I go to the floor plan, I could probably show it the best.
yeah, I was looking at it earlier, but I can't look at it at the same time as I look at,
Yeah, let me go back to the floor plan and we'll go
yeah,
over.
that would help.
Yep, hang on. Yeah, here. So if I'm going to put a highlighter on this, and I'm going to say from here across here like this and to about here. This whole area in here is really the limit of the addition.
Okay.
So I think you were referencing something over here on this end.
Well, there is something on the ground, a square thing, I don't know what it is, to the right of your drawing. So, so all I needed to know is the addition is going to stop short and the old building runs past and then moves south.
Yeah, you know what I can do? The drawings, let me switch over to this other screen again. Here. Yeah, there. Come on, there we go.
If I can just jump in for a minute, Peter, I have the same question, and I think what it comes down to is it looks like the new fascia that's getting that Bristol black panel is all in one plane because the addition comes out and basically creates one front plane of the building. Is that accurate?
Can you, is that the
There it is. Yeah. Now you
is
can
that
see.
the north facade there?
Yeah.
You're looking at,
Yeah.
I don't see the entrance canopy. The glass canopy is not showing. Is that just that little bump at the east end?
Have you
Okay.
have you got the site plan up on your screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we
I
can
got
see
yours.
it. Yeah.
I've got yours up
Okay,
there.
so this
Now I get
shows
it.
all those bumps go away. This front
Yeah.
piece projects across to here like that.
Okay. I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Now it looks like the rendering. Now we get it.
Yeah.
But the rest
Yeah,
of the
it's
building,
hard.
the rest of the building still gets cited to match the proposed new addition, correct?
Yes, it does, Alex.
And does the sign that would face the railroad track, is that still included?
As of this point, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Matt,
So if I can ask a question, you had said that there existing windows, but it looks like you're going to have new storefront to the right of that new entry and perhaps old storefront or windows, whatever, to the left. And my second question is, what is the color of the windows?
It's clear, Matt.
Clear anodized? That's what the rendering kind of depicts as a clear anodized, it looks like.
Yes, it would be clear anodized. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, John Cunningham, can I ask you a question? Does anyone else think the main entranceway is a tad bit out of scale, or is it just me? It looks like it's a little bit too big.
I'd have to look at the elevation again. I can't tell from the plan.
Let me go back. Let me go back, get to the other screen so you can have a look.
Not that it's a big deal. I just wonder what everyone else thought of the entranceway.
Do you want to know what I think, John?
Yeah.
I think it fits. I think it works.
Okay.
But here, let's have a look at the rendering because that gives you a little bit more scale on it.
So none of that is existing now, right?
Well, look,
There's a bump.
here's the existing building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that thing is still there.
Yep. That
Not as big as that.
That kind of leads the way to this form. Square this form off, and you're quite similar in size actually to that.
Does it grow toward us though in the picture? Does the tower get bigger?
Yes, it does. Oh, wait a
Okay.
second. No, let me have you have a look at this site plan here. The building actually projects forward. See how this thing is all hollow here?
Yeah.
This whole section is the new building will come right to this plane right here, Peter,
Mhm.
Okay.
right there.
And then the glass comes toward the camera?
No, that's the face of
That's
the.
it?
That's
That's
the
the
face,
limit?
yeah. Let's go back to here. That would be this face right here.
Okay. So that's all new.
Yeah, this is all new. This is
Okay.
it from here. Here is existing with new soffit and new material siding and existing windows.
Okay.
And then over here, from here forward, this is all new in the front. All new in the front. And a lot of this existing building will be demoed as well. It's not keeping the existing material. It keeps, there is one portion. Let me go back to, here we are here. This portion right in here, I'm going to change color so you can see what this is. This section right in here, see it says existing sprinkler room? This is existing. Because that's my sprinkler room. We're not tearing that out. And this is a series of existing restrooms. So this area, with the exception of this area from here this way, this will be all demoed.
Inside.
With the exception of this. So we'll obviously have to keep roof over this, keep this all up and running while we do the demo out here. This is our joint right here. That right there. Whoops. Oh well. Trying to get fancy. Yeah, so this is the line. This is the demarcation of the two. Let's go back
So-
here again. Give you the overall view.
So it's a whole new building, just, and the front is filled in as if it were filled in from the old building.
Yeah, so what
That whole
happened is
section
we,
on the right is new.
yeah, Ron, what we wanted to do is we wanted to get this plane and extend it through
Yeah, I understand.
and then square it
Right,
off, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You're not just gutting the inside of that building to the right, you're tearing it down except for the restrooms and the sprinkler room.
Exactly, yep, you got it.
And building a new building to fit the plane of the building on the left.
Exactly, and also to give it that new look. We really want to do, the other building is so industrial and so aged that we were looking for a complete new look. The product that they make, these x-rays that they make, this is going to be a place where these x-rays, if I go back to my floor plan again, this whole area right, this is a kiosk, and this is where x-rays will be displayed. This whole area right here in this opens up, this is a glass wall, it opens into the production area to try to make that relationship between the interior and in this new space.
Del, but
It's all
to
gonna
John
be like an
Cunningham's question,
open showroom, let's call it, like an automobile showroom, but except for x-rays.
to John Cunningham's question though, can you just go down a little bit further? Yeah, right. So the existing, that existing entryway, is it larger or smaller than the new one in depth?
In depth, it
From
comes to
front to
the
back.
same plane. From here,
To the back
this point to the back is the same.
is the same. Okay.
Yeah. This is where it starts.
That's where the old one started too.
Yes, exactly. Now, if you want me to,
Yeah,
let me
that's all.
switch, and I can show you that.
I get it.
Let me switch over, though. This is an
So-
important point, I think, for us all to see. Share screen. Here. Share. There. Now, can you see this here? Here are the legs of that support area coming out here from the face of the building. They come out. There's the actual door, and here are those pilasters that come forward like this. So this piece is a little bit over to the side, but it's the same distance out.
I get it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Just to keep back what Ron just asked a few moments ago. Are you sure the Bristol black isn't the bronze and the bronze the Bristol black? Was that a a word switch, or are we looking at Bristol black and it's just reading as red?
I think we have to look at the samples.
You are, and I'll explain that to you why we've done it that way. Let me get back to the right screen.
And I know I'll go in and look at the samples, but just so I know what I'm looking at when I'm.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah, very good, Alex. So look, here's our rendering. Now this is why I did this. If you look at this, this is the Bristol black. However, this Bristol black, the reason we chose this Bristol black is that it becomes, let's call it a chameleon in the sunlight.
I see.
It's highly reflective, and there you can see it picks up the afternoon sunlight. Look at it across there. Now we're not going to be going to this very fine, like this 2-inch reveal. We're not doing that. This is another section would be similar to what we're doing with the 10-inch, 2-inch, 10-inch, 2-inch. But even here it shows it more, which is why I kind of came into this area here to show that. So that color right there is what we tried to do with our rendering to be able to grab that color. But you can't match that color. It's not a color you can match. So again, you will have these things delivered to you. You can have a look at the actual color.
Okay.
Mr.
Can you
Chair,
note, can
Nice
you note on
solution
the
to
colors,
everything.
which ones, like if it's MX8, do we know, that'll be the soffit, is that right?
Yeah, so let's go back to those again, Peter.
So if you could label the samples, that would be useful. The actual samples.
Yes, actually, the actual samples do have exactly that on that. They do. Yep. There are some samples that are 4 inches by 5 inch. This typical type of a sample, like I'm holding up here, and it has the color and it has the label on the back. That's what you're going to be getting. 2 for the black. One you will see is reflective. One is matte, and then you'll get the zinc gray and the dark bronze. Excuse me, both of those are labeled as well.
Mr. Chair, Matt, do they come back for lighting and all and signage at a later date?
If there are modifications, I think Aaron could maybe answer that better than I could. But before we go on to anything else, I have a couple of questions. So,
yep.
Can you just go back to that site or the floor plan? Can you just give us the dimensions and plan of that new entry structure?
Sure.
So it's how wide? 17 feet? Is that what I'm saying?
It's let's
Roughly.
say 17 feet that way, and then
Okay.
it's 17 feet that way.
And how tall is
It's
it?
a square.
And how tall is it?
The height is 26 foot 9 inches.
Okay. And in your rendering, you show the renderer looks like they've made it the part above the flat roof looks looks translucent, transparent, like you can see through it. Is that the way you guys are intend to do that?
That's accurate. Yes.
Okay. Will there be lighting in there or?
Yes, there will. There will probably be, the way we have it worked out right now, it's not 100% resolved, but we were planning on putting a light level at this point here and light down and up. This would be illuminated at night, but we will have probably a ceiling height at this point right here. So it's not.
So it won't be one volume up and over top. It'll
Right,
just-
exactly.
Will be separated.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems to me like an important element.
Yeah, it is. It's a very important element. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It's
something
the
that,
branding. It's the branding of the facility.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that because that interior lighting is part of your exterior projection of the building, you probably need to give us some specifics. I'm sure planning and zoning will want to know what that light level is and, when it'll be on, so I think that's something, that question you should anticipate.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So I don't, just to get back to John's question about proportion of that structure, I don't think that it's, in a building this large and it's actually set back far from the street, that doesn't really concern me. I think If you go back, and you can see from the elevation, it's kind of a minor feature of this very long facade. So I don't think it's a huge deal. And if I could just ask one more question, can you just go back to that site plan for a minute where it showed the original structure versus the new structure?
Yes,
Just-
I can.
Because it'll give us, my question, I think, will give us some, well, give us some relation to,
I just wanted to blink back here for just a second.
yeah,
That also gives you kind of a look at the relationship. This is actually
Right.
longer than what we'll have, but as you
Right.
flip back and forth between these two.
if you can just go to that site plan, I just want to look at that footprint for 1 second. I just have to
You
ask,
sure
just want to
can.
ask a
Yep.
question.
Yep. There we are.
So when I see those entry doors, what I think are the original entry doors, right? So that's
Yes.
that's that tall entry structure. That's the width of that form with the pediment on it now, correct? From like there to, and from there to your left and
Well,
where your hatching start. That's
it-
because it'll just give us a sense of how big this new thing is. But
here
yeah,
it is
that's the
here, Mike.
original, right?
Here it is here. If
Yep.
if you can look in here underneath, see this line here? Here is the one pilaster, here's the other
Right.
pilaster. So it goes there, there, and there.
I understand. And so,
Okay.
but the part that's hatched in that solid gray as the new, that's the width, that's the 17-foot front we're looking at, right?
Yes, it is, yes.
So the interface with the parking lot, okay, now I think I see the entry walkway, which is centered on that. Okay, that was my question.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
got it.
it's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really not, it's a little broader than the original one, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't find that to be a big issue. I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but
I don't either. I think it's
Okay.
a nice feature.
okay.
I think it sends a message that it's high tech or something cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also down in ground.
Victoria will be happy to hear that.
It's below grade. I mean, the roadway is up, so
Mm-hmm.
it probably has to reach up a little bit to get your attention.
Good point. It is in a bit of a hollow.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I think it's a nice solution to a relatively ugly building.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
My only concern would be, do the neighbors to the south, is this, I'd be curious to see how it glows and what it's going to be seen from your neighbors to the south on the other side of the train track. A big white glowing dome might not be all that, might be a little eerie, but
From which side?
the other side of the train track, you have the
Yeah.
We'll
club.
never see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
you-
road is elevated there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you-
you won't see it.
You wouldn't see it. No, and you've got
Yeah.
this is that big two-story
That'll block
piece.
it.
Look at it. It's like a giant screen up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that from New Road would be where I would be
Right.
interested, but I looked on Google Street View. It looks to like there was almost a berm put in there,
Yeah.
maybe way back when the original building was done. Yeah, I can't even get a glimpse of it from Street View anywhere along there. In fact, I drive New Road almost every day, and I've
Exactly.
never noticed this building. So,
Yeah. You have to actually stop, get out,
Yeah.
and look through the woods to see it.
yeah, right. So I think that lit clear story above, I mean, that's something that, you never know, the neighbors might notice, from across New Road, depending on its height and when it's on. I think that will be an important question to answer.
Mm-hmm. You're good. We'll have a good answer for that.
Are there site others, I see you do have parking lot expansion, looks like, and is there site lighting and landscaping that you're gonna present, probably?
To present now or present?
Well, I don't know.
P&Z?
I don't know where we're at with this, if this is.
If you have questions, Mark is here. And if you have any questions about it, I can scoot through these drawings and Mark could answer your questions. It's up. I can go back. Now, which screen are we on? I'm sorry.
But
Are we on-
I can go through the landscape plan.
Okay, yeah, that might be good, unless there's anything else, Del, that you have to tell us about the building design. I think we understand it. Is that correct, everybody?
Yep.
Okay,
Good.
Uh,
Um, Then Matt, do you need me to stop sharing and you take
Yeah,
it
well,
over?
maybe just keep this one up for 1 second. Good evening, I'm Matthew Pop, landscape architect from Environmental Land Solutions. We're out of Norwalk. The one thing I just want to point out on this drawing, you can see the 5 shaded areas on the outside of the parking lot. Those are raised carports with solar panels above them. So that kind of limit the landscaping around the parking lot. And then right in the front of the 2 carports near to the front of the building, right there, there's a septic system there. So that kind of goes underneath. You zoom, yeah, it's right through there. So that also where we could put trees. Now I could start sharing my screen. I could put up the landscape plan.
Okay, I will stop. You've got it, Matt.
Oop. I'm hoping you can see it.
Yes.
So again, that septic system is right through here. The carport.
Could you zoom in a little bit, please? More.
Wait 1 second. No.
So I don't see. So the tower looks quite small when you get to the plan.
Yeah, it's right through here. The septic system, approximate location is right through here. We have the 1 carport here, second one over here. And then on the side, the 3rd, and then the 4th, and then the 5th over here. So that kind of limit the area where we could put in, trees. Normally, I kind of line the parking lots with trees. But what we did do is we are having a new driveway coming in off a new road. The existing driveway comes through here. So when you come into the site, we heavily screened our neighbor with evergreen trees, mainly a Norway spruce, arborvitae, and American holly. And in the front of that, we have bayberry and winterberry, just for shrubs in the front of that. So it's pretty thick screening to the neighbor. We do have a couple of focal trees. We have an oak tree here. On the other side of the parking lot, we have another oak tree. In the front of the building, let me just zoom in. We kept it very clean. Where there's no windows, we had shrubs, hydrangeas. And then where there were windows, which go pretty low, we just had the Pachysandra with an astilbe, which is a white, low white flowering ground cover. To the side, we have an outdoor sitting area. Let me just zoom over. Right through here. And we have, birch tree. Actually, we had shad below surrounding it, the sitting area here. Just have a couple of tables. Probably have a small grill over here and kind of a walkway that wraps around the building. For lighting, we have a 14-foot high light pole, 3000 K, kind of a warm tone white fixture, and with a bollard that kind of matches. The bollards are around the sitting area here. The pole lights, located 1, 2, 3, 4. So those shine out from the building and across the light of the parking lot. We have some on this side of the parking lot here, shining back in towards the building. And then on the building, we have wall mounted fixtures, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a number of them wrapping around. And there's a detail of that wall mounted fixture, right over here. The heights, there's 2 different heights on them. One's a 14-foot height, plus or minus, and another one is an 18-foot height. and the 18-foot height is, we're using those where we have the loading area. This is a pretty big distance to light going across. So again, these are up, higher. And again, there's still that warm 3000 K fixture, all downward pointing lights. So I think that is the landscaping plan, quickly, if there's any questions. You have an answer. And one other thing we want to point out, there's an existing flagpole here. So I didn't, want to stick any trees blocking that flagpole coming in. So we have to keep that as a focal point.
Good to me, Matt.
Okay. We still got those existing trees up in the front. It's a good buffer. Over on the side right here, the neighbors' parking areas gets pretty close to the property line, so we kind of want to screen that off from our, outdoor sitting area.
Matt, are there lights under the carports?
There will be, and that's still to be, determined, because I'd be very, from the light poles, I don't think I would be able to light underneath the carports.
Do you have,
The reason why I have the lights on this side, because I'm thinking they would shine out and maybe under the carport.
I don't know if anybody has just a visual of some kind or even an elevation of the structure itself, just to get an idea of how tall it is and which way it's pitched. But the only other question well, first of all, I like the site plan a lot. I think screening that neighboring building is a very large improvement over what I can see on Street View that's there now. And I can understand why you want to do it. I think that's a great move, creating your own entry. Looks like you're going to probably jump that entry to the west, I guess it is, to the other side of that telephone pole that's out there where the Pacuda sign is now. I don't know if that's true or not, but in regards to the layout, the only question I have is, and this is minor, but with the straight lines and cleanliness of this whole front that you've created with filling in the building, the little kink in the carport at the end there, I didn't know if there's a way, an engineering way. You probably got to do a little chisel away at that slope a little bit, maybe a little bit of interlocking block retaining wall might allow you to straighten that out, only because the carport is going to emphasize that sort of nuance in the geometry.
That was my concern too. I think when I first saw the site plan, it your eye goes right to that, I think.
Yeah.
But I think there's a building setback.
There's a setback issue
over
there.
here. Yes, yes, that was the reason for that.
Right on
you can build
right on the setback, Matt.
Yeah, but you can build a retaining wall in the setback up to about 4 feet. Does that sound right, Aaron? If you had to do just a little wall to make the grade work, it kind of looks like it's tipping its hat to the existing contours, but not so much the setback. But
Yeah, I don't
know.
believe we have the setbacks drawn on.
Not on this plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably have that on Mark's civil drawings.
Okay.
Right, and that's the reason the bend is there, is because that front setback. We're asking for the waiver for the front yard, but in that area, we're at the setback at that point, and it's not a grading issue so much. We could grade it without a retaining wall and get that to work. It's the setback that somebody has to.
So what setback? The parking isn't typically subject to setbacks generally, so I just want to know what's driving that.
There is language in the regulations regarding parking in the front setback in this zone.
Oh, in the front setback. Oh, in this zone. Okay, I'm not familiar
In front
with
of
this
the
zone.
building. Yeah, I have to
Okay.
pull up a specific section. I know Mark and I have gone over this quite a few times, and every time I forget what section it is that we're referencing, but I know it's in there.
Is it the kind of thing that P&Z can exercise some discretion on or not? Aaron, do you know?
Well, for parking, yes, now you're proposing a solar structure which a
That-
structure would have to meet the minimum.
Oh,
setback.
of course, you're right. I'm sorry.
That's-
I'm forgetting about
that's
the
the
structure, of
challenge.
course. Yeah, I'm sorry. I completely forgot about the structure. I get it.
Yeah,
Does the carport structure count as coverage?
yeah,
I believe it would.
Yeah, I don't know how close it is to the limit, but there's a lot of new roof out there.
I think it's I'm gonna look at the plan. I believe it would count for coverage, although I don't believe it's specifically in our regulations. I don't know that our regulations have been updated to reflect solar carports. Impervious surface would not, although I think we have a pretty lenient coverage in the light industrial zone. I don't believe we're close, are we, Mark? Let me pull up.
Yeah, I don't believe her. Let me take a look at
I
our.
have to pull up your civil drawings
Yeah, I
to
don't.
look at it. I know you have the calculation in there.
Well, it looks like a really
Anyway,
nice, neat plan. And if the carport on the left was the same I think it's 6 parking spaces as the one on the right, and then those two are framing the entry, that's a really nice, neat, kind of complete thing instead of the extra space, the extra carport to the west. You've got more coverage over there, but unfortunately I get in trouble because I always start to veer toward aesthetics away from some of the environmental initiatives and things that other people think are important, but it's just a comment. I don't want to belabor it. I just wanted to ask.
Well, and of course, with the berm and the heavy woods there, you kind of don't see it.
No, I know.
Unless you're looking from the top down.
Right.
So luckily it's on the far side of the parking lot. Mark, you want me to stop sharing or?
Does anybody else have any other questions for Matt on the landscape plan?
Nope. Looks good, man.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
I guess one of the questions, Matt Williams and committee would be if you would like to hold off. So this application has some revisions going forward and will not be moving forward with Planning and Zoning Commission this month. Is this something you want to give yourselves a month to look at the samples and have this continued onto your agenda next time? Or are you comfortable making a motion this evening? But you do have time. It is still, this application is subject to inland wetlands as well. So the earliest that Planning and Zoning Commission could act would be the April 20th meeting.
Well, I thought maybe I should
would
just
take
pull.
that time. I would take that.
Yeah.
My recommendation would be to take that time.
Yeah, I would agree with Ron. I think I was just going to ask everybody. I mean, I think one question I had is just the variety of color with the dark bronze, the black, the matte black, glossy black, which I think is kind of a neat effect. I don't have a problem. I think that's kind of interesting. But dark bronze and black can look very similar.
Right. That was my concern originally.
And then the clear anodized will be a very bold element to it, which I don't think is a bad thing. I just wondered if you needed, all three of those varieties in that area, but I didn't know if anybody else had any thoughts on that.
I think we should look at the samples.
Okay.
Well, along those lines, I worry a little bit about the light standards, the street light and the bollards. Why are they white? Wouldn't they disappear a little? Wouldn't they disappear if they were black? And be part of the same palette as the building?
Along those
Yeah.
lines, Peter, I would like to see, if we have the time, lighting schematic and just out of respect to all the neighbors, the residential neighbors. I think the building's really crisp and clean and modern and cool looking. But I just want to make sure we get the lights right so that it wraps up and looks beautiful and people aren't sore if the lights, if it's glowing in a weird way.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think just something on the solar canopy, just so we can see what they look like. This is an industrial, building zone, and it's very well screened. It was very, very appropriately cited when it was built, whenever that was. So I think none of this is of a big concern to me, but I think it would just be, since we're going to be back, let's just take a look at that canopy too, so we can see it. So I don't know. I don't know how everybody else feels. Generally, I think it's a nice project, I think it's good.
Way better than what's there now.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, the real 70s landmark.
Yep. And the town owes you a little debt of gratitude for screening that other building next door. So. All right. Do we want to move on to the next item? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Bill Plunkett for minor alteration to previously approved porch reconstruction by the committee and the commission. Bill, can you hear us also?
I think he's muted, but I'm just going to jump in here. I don't think Bill will mind. There was a railing, I guess we looked at a design a few years ago when he did the renovations on. This is the building next door to the open lot. It's the one open lot removed from Moxie's building. And apparently Vinny, our building official, asked him to do a taller railing on it because it may be a different use, not residential or what have you. So Bill sent this to Aaron and to myself last week or week before, whichever it was, and just asked if it's something we could just kind of look at. And I didn't see any real issue with it, but I just wanted to let everybody know what I know about it at this point. We can let Bill talk to the rest of it.
Yes, so the original approval or the request was to rebuild and reconstruct the porch in kind. So from our perspective, it has nothing to do really with what could be a future use on the property. At this point, Bill is requesting my understanding is to delete the railings and not have any rails on the porch. But because everybody approved the design of the rails and the replacement of the rails, that's why it's before you to look at them, see if you have any recommendations as to aesthetically if there were not to be rails on the porch. So that
there were no rails now.
Yes, because the project was not completed. It's still an open permit. So that's what's triggered this is the sale of a property, the request to close permits, and the permit wasn't completed. And so now that he's requesting to change that, he has to go through similar to the steps that your first application came through. It needs to go through ACA for comments.
Going to be a railing or not? Or what is the proposal? I'm confused.
He wants to leave it the way
So
it is.
Bill is saying he can't unmute. Okay, you look like you're unmuted, Bill. Do you not have go to the little arrow, you have to enable your audio. That may be the problem why we can't hear you. I'll show you the screen. I'll share the screen now so you can see what the proposal is. So this was the original design with the railings on the front building. And what Bill is requesting now is to delete the existing approved railing design and allow the future property owner to come before you should any railings be required for a future commercial use.
Yeah, Bill
Got it.
Bill doesn't want to construct the railings because the building's going to be sold. So he needs
Correct.
he needs to get approval to negate our prior approval.
That's right.
Code-wise, the drop from the porch to the ground has to be less than 30 inches. Is that right?
Yeah,
Otherwise,
he has that. He has
Otherwise, you have to have the railing, but I can't
Yeah.
tell from the drawing.
that. But he has
Uh,
that, yeah.
I don't
It's
want to
about
fall
2
30 inches myself.
Yeah, so I can't zoom in for some reason on this because I'm not on my work computer, but it is under,
It's 27 inches now, Bill says.
Mhm.
yeah, I was gonna
Okay,
say, it
got
it
it.
shows 2 and change here.
Oh,
So
Matt,
should you have no issues with that, again, as the administrator, I can issue an administrative approval. It doesn't have to go before the Planning and Zoning Commission,
Okay.
but it does require that ACCA
Mhm.
have some type of,
I don't have any problem eliminating the railing. I don't know how anybody else feels about it.
I don't have a problem either, Matt.
I don't need.
There's no historic significance or anything of that railing, right? It's just arbitrary.
No, I think it looks nice. I think it looks nice and clean the way it is. I mean, without any railing.
I'm trying to think if someone else tore a railing down in the historic district, but I can't think of who it might have been, Alex.
Maybe a fence.
I'll make a motion to just approve, that we allow the new owner to come back before us with what they want to do, and that Bill does not have to do it.
And to rescind our original
Mhm.
request to put in a railing that was approved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
okay. Thank you. Thank you, Bill, even though you couldn't talk. At least we got it taken care of. Okay, so next is Dunkin' Donuts on the east end of town. I have the property owner here. Chris is here. Chris, can you let me know who else? Yeah, is it Sean?
Yeah, I think he had another Zoom. He pinged me. So I think it's just gonna be me for the moment. I am the I own the Dunkin' and we also own the property as well.
Okay, so this came before us as there was a permit for interior alterations, and then our land use office received sign application. Some of the signs may exceed what is permitted from a zoning perspective for allowed square footage. And we'll go through those and itemize those for Chris. But this does constitute a minor site plan modification because there are some proposed facade changes. And we wanted to bring that before you for colors. And I guess Chris had some questions as far as what you thought of the front or the facade. It's existing brick currently. Chris, I don't know, do you have these available or you want me to?
I have I have the plans up on my screen. Is that what you're asking, or?
Yep, so I do as well. Whatever's easier. If you'd prefer to screen share, if you'd like me to, that's fine.
Yeah, you can screen share if you like. I mean, I have the construction drawings up on my screen. Let's see. Do you send that to me do I just share it here?
Yep, you can hit share. I also have them,
No.
they're all part of the sign package as well, so I can pull them up if that's easier.
Let me see. Yeah, I got a security problem with my Mac. It's gonna make me reboot my machine if I have to.
Oh,
I have
so
to
let me,
share.
here, I'll screen
Yeah,
share it for you and you
good,
can
yeah.
talk us through. That's faster.
Sure.
That's fine, just in the interest of time.
Here we go.
So this is our existing facade. And as you can see, they're looking to flatten off this top portion here and replace the signage just for the general rebranding of the store. As we scroll down, I can show you what the proposed colors and banding is. So this is the drive-through existing sign. It's all within the same, it's just a new face essentially within the existing framing. Some of these are newer. These are paneled side areas. This is all new proposed signage, and some of these I have a sneaky suspicion are going to push you over the edge, Chris, and you may just have some paneling as opposed to additional signage here. This
Yep.
is again on the drive-through side. And this is the ground sign that's existing, the monument sign. This is the existing, but it's all within the existing frame. What's proposed. Again, the same rebranding for directional signage on site. At the entrance to the drive-through. There's also a replacement overhead signage as you approach the order window, or the order screen, I should say. So this is the newer, it looks actually smaller than what was previously or existing there. This is your overall site, but down here are your colors. Here, this is
Oh, yeah,
where.
there you go.
So this is the proposed front facade would be painting the brick gray and doing a horizontal panel. And of course the orange fascia board as well. And then these are the matching panel to match the front.
Yeah.
signage.
The design is what, you know, the brand directs us to submit to you guys. I don't like to paint brick gray, you know, personally, but again, that's something that they prefer, you know, and it's the same with the panels on the side of the buildings. It's for me, it makes no difference. You know, if you guys want it, you don't want it, it's something we have to submit. So I think the rest is all existing. It's just changing the faces to the new logo.
You're also proposing lighting here for that signage, that if there's
Yes.
no signage there, that would not have to be.
So the other thing too, Aaron, so you see where you have the right above that, the something fresh is always brewing. Okay, and then you get the drive-through window, right, which is all existing. Those 3 windows. So the interior of the store is going to change a bit. Well, that will be essentially like a wall will get put up, and they want us to put decals on there as well. I'm not sure if you guys count that as signage or not, but it is. Currently, there are trees in front of it, but they did ask us to put 3 decals, which again is, you know, it's whatever you guys like is. It's fine.
Is that panel on the lower right, C, number C, is that new or is that existing?
It's new. So that's the new look with these new next gen shops. They do like that. We add that wooden kind of paneling, and then they add the messaging, the signage. And
This is new also, so on both sides.
That's on the reverse side of that, or no, that's on the other side.
This is
of
the
building.
east side, the
That's
east
the west side.
facing, and then this is the west side, as you're driving to pick up your order at the window. That's an
Is that-
additional
Is
side.
that really necessary? Do you really think? That's
Are
a
you
lot of
asking me?
signage for a little building.
No.
There's loads
think
of
those-
signage.
I think those will put them over in signage. And
Yeah.
so I guess the question would be if no signs are permitted, now some of this work has started on site, and I believe some of these panels are installed.
Oh, well.
It's
already.
not, but Aaron, that's not a problem. I mean, if it's a no-go, it's
To
not. it's not-
take them off, okay.
No problem. I was unsure. I was aware of the process with you guys, with this piece of it. So, you know, my feeling is, you know, if those are the 2 things that make me over and you guys don't care for it, you know, that's no sweat off my back.
What's the color of the accent panel?
It's like wood. It's like a wood looking product.
Okay.
And that's the same here as well.
Yeah, these are the new colors for Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
You see the upgraded buildings, you know, other places.
Yeah, the Clinton building looks,
Yeah.
has done the upgrade as well. So it really is, I guess, you know, if what Chris is saying is if you prefer to leave the brick and just allow for some of the facade changes, that's something that he would be agreeable to.
I think
So
the
it's
gray,
not,
I think the gray is a nice addition, to, frankly. To
Yeah, I do too. It looks very 70s now.
yeah, it
Okay,
looks more contemporary.
sure.
So Matt, I'm, you know, when I first saw this application earlier this week, I'm struggling with a lot of this signage, and a quick search shows Dunkin' Donuts in historic areas, including downtown Hartford, are able to use signage that's a lot more in keeping with a scenic coastal town. You know, this just looks like Dunkin' Donuts or Dunkin's straight corporate signage. My question is to Chris, do you not have options to, you know, to do like what they're doing in Boston or, you know, in cities and, you know, all over the place? You do a search and there's like really cool signs that are more in keeping. I mean, there's no competition in the area for you. So everyone who's from here knows where you are. Everyone who's visiting is going to be on their phones. They don't visually need to see it. And it's not like you're going to drive by it and go to another Dunkin' down the road. So I just don't see what it's all for. I mean, unless it's just placating, you know, Dunkin' Corporation, which isn't really something that I'd rather keep residents and our town happy.
Yeah, you know, I Chris, I don't know that you even have to answer that. I think you had said this is something that they asked you to do or to show us, and I would agree, Alex. I think the additional signage is not necessary. I'm kind of going around the building on Street View right now just to sort of get a feel for the brick and whatnot, and I'm not crazy about the gray, although I'm not crazy about the brick either. But I don't think I completely agree. I think when it comes to some of these big national chains, you know, they're giving their franchisees a directive or a request directive, and you know, he's got to do what they got to do. But I think, as you just pointed out, Alex, a lot of jurisdictions, you know, stick to their guns and they do something that's whatever they think is more appropriate. So,
Well, I think we were able to make the sign smaller for the new bank next to the Henny Penny.
so I think you have to look at where you're zoned also.
Well, the
being
thing
a
is,
village
the corporate-
district
the corporate
overlay
look-
versus.
the corporate look we were presented with for the bank was geared for suburban Dallas, where the you know, there's a
Right.
desert. And
Right,
so
and you have-
this is not a desert. It doesn't have to be so big, I don't think.
Right, well, you have design standards in your village district, which you do not have in your commercial districts. So.
Well, that doesn't mean we can't ask for
well,
it.
it doesn't mean we can't. It doesn't mean we're not looking to village districtize this thing. I think we
Yeah.
just want to be able to weigh in on, you know, what we think might be a little better one way or the other. That's all.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
That's why we're there in front of us, I gotta presume. I think the other things that just kind of jumped out at me, if right there, you're looking right at it. If you look at the existing sign and the lower sign, the DNKN, those letters are really big. And even on the primary, you know, sign out at the road, they knocked out the little cup, you know, good or bad. But if you were to scroll down here and you look at the existing and the proposed sign at the street, that Dunkin' lettering is really large. I don't know how large it is, but maybe the other sign's too small right now. I really don't know. I was going to ask how
Pretty
big
big.
those, you know, I just kind of thought, wow, you know, supersize me on the lettering, you know.
You could
That's
probably
all.
adjust that, ask for a different gauge, or I don't know how they measure that.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, they've eliminated some of the graphics, so now they're just filling the spot, and it's a big. I mean, I don't know what's the size of
This
that.
one
big
doesn't
font?
have the size of the letter here. The overall is 32 inches for the overall
Okay.
sign.
It's huge.
The lettering is giant because they filled up the whole space left.
They
and
fill up
right.
the whole thing with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one on the drive-through showed
I really
6-inch
object to
letter
that one.
height. These are
That one
6
really
and
bothers me.
3-inch quarter.
That
Aaron,
one's way out of scale.
Well,
Aaron,
that's
The
advertising.
DNK over there is,
Why do they even have that sign? They don't want you to drive in there. Why don't they just take it off?
can I ask
It's
Aaron?
it's existing sign. It's,
Yeah, I know, but that doesn't mean it has to stay there.
Aaron, can I ask my sign vendor is actually, his name is Sean Donovan. He said he's trying to get in.
sure,
Can you-
I see him. Here he comes. He could tell us maybe what the letter height is
yeah,
Or the
maybe.
thick, the
on that
fat,
ground sign.
the fatness factor is what I'm interested in. It's a pudgy letter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well,
Well, that's corporate. You can't change that.
yeah, their font is,
The only thing that you can hope for is that they can make it shrink the size.
right. It's
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
a
sure they can
cartoon.
set, there's settings they
Okay,
can
there's
pick.
Sean.
Hey, guys, I'm Sean, the sign vendor. You guys hear me okay?
Yep,
Yes, thank you. Sean, what's the size of the letter on the ground sign?
I'm gonna guess, but it's probably 10 to 12 inches.
Big.
Because it's only, because that visible opening of the VO is only 32 inches of it,
Well, there's the
visible-
dimension of the sign, and then there's the thickness or what I would call fatness of the lettering. If we
Yeah,
could
so what-
if I could slim down the lettering, that would be great.
Well, we can't slim down the lettering. We can't, if you want to make the copy, like graphics a little small, like we could take Duncan and maybe downsize drive-through a little bit. But we can't make the font thinner. That's bastardizing the logo. So that's not an
Okay.
option. for
Yeah,
us.
okay.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
you could say, if you want it to be a little smaller, I mean, most don't like the white fields. So that's kind of the concept here, is to fill the white, because that's usually a negative. But we could downsize the drive-through a little bit to give it a little bit more balance if you want. Again, that's probably I'd probably say that's anywhere from a 10 to 12 inch letter on the
Can
dome.
we see that sign again, please?
Yes.
A requirement by the brand to have embossed letter versus a flat piece of poly.
The problem is a proportion, Peter, because if you, let's say you shrink the whole thing, Dunkin' and drive-through, then there's too much white. Right now, it fills the space appropriately, but it's too large. So the solution would be to have a smaller sign. But I suspect that's not in the cards. So
And the other thing, Ron, is that sign, the existing sign is internally illuminated as a note. So this thing is just going to be a glowing LED white.
well, it is anyway,
Fine.
probably, right? I mean,
Yeah,
would it be
it's-
possible?
It's an illuminated sign existing.
Would it be possible to
Existing.
reinstate the orange border?
No, but I mean, we could do an opaque white background or something. I mean, that's usually what a lot of towns like to do. If they don't like the glaring white, just the graphics would illuminate at night and the white would be opaque.
Is there a way to just eliminate the letters? and
that
not
would
the
be
white
much,
background?
I think that would be,
That's what I'm suggesting. So,
Yeah.
How can you isolate, how can you keep the light from shining all over the inside of that sign?
they opaque the white field from behind.
Oh, I see, okay.
That would help.
That would
at
help.
night.
Yeah.
That would really
So
help.
during the day, you would see it as the white
Yeah.
background and the orange and pink graphics. But at night, the white glaring would just be opaque, and you just see Duncan and you'd see drive-through with the pink.
So
Okay.
did you say it would be impossible to reinstate the orange border?
Yeah, it's not the brand. It's not. It's
a new
it's
brand,
been
yeah.
removed. Yeah, yeah.
um,
They're pretty strict on that. It's the imaging. But I mean, if we opaque the white fields, I think you'd find that to be accommodating.
Yeah, that would be better.
In signs C and D, which are the externally illuminated signs on either side, east and west, are we going to
Yeah.
scrap those? I mean, I don't think they're necessary.
I can, if the walls are already built, there is an option where we can do a graphic. It's a cup and a donut, but they're considered icons, artwork. So if you didn't want to use copy, so the
I
walls
take
don't
it-
go to waste.
Sean, you didn't do a calculation of our sign regulations,
No, what we
allowed
do-
square
yeah, our
footage and
approach is-
proposed?
What we do is my approach, and I bid the package based on the elevations provided by the architect, which the brand approves. And then we go through this process and we eliminate, is usually
Okay.
not
So
an uncommon approach, but yeah, that's usually a lot of these do go over the signage, it's,
I
not
would
uncommon.
anticipate that these side on the east and west would have to be eliminated.
Yeah, I would agree with that, actually.
Yeah, and that's not a problem. Like Chris said, I mean, it's, they usually put us over. And then the other thing too, I know you guys were talking about that wall sign for drive-through, the wayfinding. We could just take the logo off that DNK and then do, just have the drive-through there. That's a
That'd be better.
wayfinding sign that's telling people not to go down that driveway.
Yeah, that would be better. Yeah.
That would be better, yeah.
Yeah,
That
we'll
would
remove
be-
the
Then
DNK.
there'd be a lot of white space in that sign, right?
Well, we could
See,
do,
sorry for scrolling.
would upsize the drive-through and then what we could do is we could do the drive-through as a pink block with knockout white letters. And
Can't
the
that
enter
sign
from
be
the other
smaller?
side could be like gray copy or something like that.
Can't
Is that
sign
an
be
existing
smaller?
framework for the sign?
Can't it be smaller?
Well, it's an existing sign, so we're just,
No, it isn't.
we're just refacing it. I mean, Chris, are you still on? Do you need that sign there? Is there a reason that's there, like to keep people from driving down?
I think it's there, it's existing, it's always been, and it's just tells the customers not to pull in on that side.
But now it's gotten, I never even knew it was there until
Well,
now. And now it's very bright, I think.
I was gonna ask you if the existing sign could remain. I mean, I just think I like the smaller black letter versus the
Well,
orange
could do is
pink
we could
letter.
probably-
Anyway.
Well, it is, yeah, enter from other side, please. I don't know. I mean, this is what was on the plans.
Mhm.
And in the DNK is just a branding, but you're on the property, so I think if we did drive through, enter from the other side, I mean, I think that. might
Yeah.
work.
Well, even
could do
if
like
we
the
left
brand
it,
on the other
even if
side
we
would be
left
great.
even if we left the branding, we could darken the background like you're proposing for the tall, the freestanding sign. Would that cut down on the impact of it?
Well, we could do the same thing as we could
Yeah, that's what I
take the
think.
white field.
Right.
You don't need the branding on that. You're already, there are,
Yeah. In fact, it
patrons
takes
already
away
on
from the
property.
message of drive-through.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's really wayfinding, but
Yeah.
again, we just follow what the brand gives us, and
So we're going to get a lot more white than if you take the Duncan out.
That was my
No,
point.
if you looked at the pylon, see how you had the pink drive-through with the knockout white letters? We could do that for the drive-through. And then
That's what I'm suggesting. Yeah.
yeah, enter from the other side would be gray, gray letters, dark
Yeah.
gray letters.
So it'd be a smaller.
So we could fill the, we could fill that up. So it's like drive-through, enter from other side. It'd be a clear wayfinding message without a lot of branding.
Mhm.
But the sign would remain the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's an existing cabinet. That's.
So, if we,
So I really don't understand your proposal. Sorry.
Well, it's
Well,
an
to that point,
existing
I'd like
sign,
to
it's
see them-
not big.
I'd like to see them come back with, they made this presentation, come back with more suitable signs or see what else is available from corporate and put it all together and let us look at it again. That's my thought.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with it as is.
I mean, the lettering, well, we've got to, let's, I agree, Alex, I agree. And I think most of us do. Let's just go through the individual signs because there's a lot going on here. So if we just kind of go through and come up with a sort of consensus guidance for them, that might be helpful, I would think. Now I'm looking at the front of the building and they're taking the slope off the roof, which I think is fine. It looks to me like maybe they're thinking that looks a little bit like a coffee cup, which I don't mind that sort of pop symbolism so much. I don't know what they're thinking, but that Duncan letter on that new sign is 20 inches high. And it's a situation of, well, they're filling that whole facade and making it a sign. And I don't know if that's too much. I don't know what other people think of that.
Is the white part of that illuminated or is it being hit by lights
No,
from
that,
outside?
that's fiber cement board. That would be,
So
What
it's
do you
just an
have there?
internally lit orange letter.
yeah, just
Right.
individual orange.
Just the
internal
orange?
rectangle letters. Yeah, on a white fascia that, they call that the monolith. And that's the old style was the pitched roof. But now
Yeah.
all these monoliths are being converted over to, as you see, like the lower portions that wood trim. And then the white fascia is now the sign fascia. And those are individual illuminated channel letters.
And
basically.
these may all have to be reduced based on overall sign square footage that is proposed. So that would be the next step is, you've got these calculated, but it's based off of your overall frontage, and you have to calculate all of the signs, for your total square footage. So you may find that these signs shrink to accommodate what's allowed in square footage.
Maybe since they're gonna have to redo all that, maybe what we could do is give them just some general thoughts,
Yes,
all these. So if we can list those. So I think my comment on this primary sign is that the letters internally lit are very large. I don't have a problem necessarily with whatever the materials are that wood material. I think it's that panel that they're doing on the sides of the buildings or want to do on the sides of the buildings. I don't know what material, and it's probably on here, the coping is on that, capping that roof. I don't know if anybody knows what that is.
No, I wouldn't be able to comment on that. I mean,
Okay,
Chris,
okay.
maybe you could, I think it's just an aluminum, cap.
What color, I guess, would be all we'd want to know, is it dark
You had the
bronze?
color rendering I think at the, that you were looking at earlier.
Mhm.
That might tell you.
oh, down here.
Yeah, see, our drawings are focusing on the signs and their,
Right. Oh, down in there.
on
Oh,
It is
okay.
white.
their plans.
All right. I'm looking at this on my screen, on my larger screen in my office, so I can be
Yeah.
able to actually see that fairly well.
These show as white, although the rest of the building is all gray.
Yeah. So it's probably a gray or a dark bronze or
Yeah, it's
something. Okay.
probably a charcoal gray. I think
Okay.
it's Benjamin Moore raccoon fur is the, it's charcoal gray.
Behind the letters as well.
No, that's white. That's
This is white and this is white.
Yep. And I think that's
What do
Sherman.
Can you
Williams
scroll it
Nimbus
up? I
white.
can't see what you're pointing to. Could you scroll it up just a bit?
No, I can't.
The people's pictures are blocking the lower level of drawings.
Oh,
Oh, I can get
we
rid
have
of
to
the
move
people.
your
I can
pictures
get rid
around.
of the people. Sorry.
I'll duck
Okay,
down.
I
How's
see it
that?
now.
So there's, the west side of the building is white.
One thing that I would recommend just looking at that drawing is right now there's, a sort of a valance panel top of the window frame that looks to be from the street view, a dark bronze that matches the window frame. And on that drawing right there on the screen, it's calling that all that banding is Duncan orange.
Right.
I would really rather see that be the wood panel that they're using elsewhere. I don't know what anybody else thinks about that idea.
Yeah, the orange is too much.
There's way too much orange.
It's not a highway building, it's a road building.
Yeah. And I think that just doesn't need to be that bold. I think the building would look more like a building if it had that building material wood panel on that banding there instead of the Duncan orange. So I'd like to sort of make that suggestion. And just because I haven't said anything yet, I don't think, given the fact they want to do the brick all gray and kind of taking into consideration all the changes they've proposed, the corporation has proposed, the brick is going to be painted gray or whatever color, excuse me. I think I like the panels on the side of the building, but I don't think that they need to be that there needs to be signage on them. But I don't mind the panels as a break to all this gray. My personal opinion. I don't know what anybody else thinks about that, but
The one that says
I agree
Madison
with that.
on it doesn't bother me as much. I think it's kind of, as you drive in from Clinton, it might be kind of nice to see Madison and, people going to Ham and Acid, but I think it's gratuitous.
Well,
Yeah.
the brand puts that on there. It is supposed to be about the drive-through experience. Both those accent walls are already when you're in the drive-through lane. You're approaching the window,
Yeah.
So it's more about the experience. So, and they like it because, again, a lot of towns like it because it connects it to the community. The one that they usually drop a lot is the something fresh, but that's the idea of the runs on Madison runs on or whatever.
Yeah.
So I have a
It-
question, I have a question about the colors that, I'm looking at the south elevation where it says Duncan in the middle, gray on the right, on the, what would be the second floor of the roof. Why is the other side white?
I can't.
It's
that-
shown
that's
on
an
the west
architectural
elevation
question,
too.
Yeah, why is that white?
Some of them, some of the shops have that, just a
Yeah.
design piece that they throw in.
Because it doesn't look like a design, it looks like something left over.
Well, I think that's what the
It's
existing
hard to
fascia
decide.
is that off-white.
Yeah, but that could be painted presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I also know that the orange banding, I believe there's a brown, that some towns that don't like the bright orange, there's a brown option.
Uh-huh.
Goes with that. I've seen those before.
So
Okay.
could we leave a comment on, about the white being painted out?
sure. I mean, if that's what you
Except
guys,
the part where it says Duncan, I could see that being like a sign being white, wouldn't bother me, but those two parapets look kind of funny to me.
This one and this one.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think that, I don't think the signage on the either side of the building adds much in terms of identity. If you look at
No.
street view, the building is way back from the building.
yeah,
And it sits way back behind a bunch of big bollards and probably umbrellas if they're open. And it just doesn't seem like you're already in there on your way into the drive-through by the time you really see that. It'd just be my only comment about that. I just don't think it does much. I don't think it does much for the
experience.
for the franchise to be able to see that. And then you've got, if you're coming down Route 1 from Clinton direction, you've got the Power Phone building right out in front of you, you know, too. So it's just kind of blocking that. I don't know. I don't mind the panel on the gray because I think it's a lot of gray. But I think
you don't mind what panel?
the panel, I don't mind them putting those wood panels on there personally.
No, yeah, I don't either.
This.
You know, I think that gives it a little something and, but I think what I would just, maybe we can round out our comment on those side panels is saying, I think they've got to look at the overall sign area and see if they've got available lettering and then decide whether they want to do the panels or not. If they've already been started, I'm just, you know, I don't think there's a problem with having them added to the building if everything else is gonna be painted out gray. So
So are we gonna somehow record the suggestion that those white what I call parapets can be grayed out?
I have that as notes too. I was gonna
Okay.
kind of
yeah,
I just don't want to
It's
leave
fine.
that behind.
summarize all of this and send
Yeah.
an email to Chris and his team so that they can
Okay.
come back to you for your next
Yeah.
meeting with that.
Yeah,
yeah.
The other smaller sign, I think you got all of them on the facade. The rest are, you know, smaller little directional signs such as this one here. They're all, I believe they're under 2 square feet, so they're really, from our standpoint, you're doing some markings on the actual pavement markings here for directional traffic. I don't really see much of an issue as that.
Matt,
Yeah,
would it be appropriate to tell these folks, I mean, given our points of view, and also the fact that they're over in signage, to review their restrictions, number one, and to determine what they're going to have to eliminate, and let them choose what to eliminate, given our points of view.
yeah, I think they have, I agree, Ron. I
on the
think
whole
that
matter,
that's-
and then come back to us so that we can review the proposal once again.
I agree. And I think, you know, because they may find when they calculate this out, one of the things I see potentially happening is, even though I mentioned the 20-inch high Duncan letter on the primary sign there in the center of the building, is that might have to get smaller.
Correct.
And then there's going to need to be some design consideration of that. So they've got to go through and look at the overall, you know, what's available to them
So
size wise.
taking our objections and our
Yeah, just-
various into consideration, plus the fact that they have to recalculate.
Right.
let them come back and give us a new proposal, which they think we will accept.
Right.
How do you is the allowable signage calculated by the lineal footage, or do you guys have a?
Yeah, I'll send you the link, Sean, so that I'll give you the calculations for it.
I think it's the gross area. When you have a free floating character like that sign would be, the primary sign, I think it's the area of the letters themselves. Am I right, Aaron, when they're internally lit?
Oh, yes, I think, I
Yeah.
thought you were asking how the total was. It was based on linear frontage or.
Oh, the total, I don't know,
Yeah,
but I'm just
yeah,
saying.
that-
Yeah.
Yes, but I
Then
agree
what
with you. It would be taken just as you've kind of done this. You've calculated the overall length of the letters by the height. So just how you have them in your sign, the 16.3 square feet, we wouldn't change that calculation.
Okay.
It's just, I just want to give you what your total can be.
And along those lines, while you're doing that, Aaron, if those 3 windows that are face west are going to be blocked off, but they're going to be existing glass that can be used for signage, that to me seems like just a loophole to put up more signs, because they're not windows. They're really just.
I'm glad you brought that up, Alex. I think that's a good point. And maybe we can just hear that one more time, what the proposal is on, I guess if we go back to that rendered plan, does that show those?
There's no vinyl shown on this proposal for window coverings, but I guess a relevant question, Chris, would be whether or not you're removing landscaping as part of the project. Those windows are currently blocked by shrubs.
Correct.
So
No,
if,
it's not the plan. The plan wasn't to remove them. It just showed on one of the other pages, I
oh,
believe.
so you wouldn't see any,
Yeah, so it would,
you
know,
can see from this here,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to see the windows at all. So I think
Which windows are proposed to be covered with something?
Around the corner.
they're behind, on the west side, behind these shrubs. So if
Okay.
here,
New windows.
you see. they're
Over
on the
there? Oh, I see.
side
Okay.
here.
But that's just a chainsaw away. I mean, so
Well,
just remove
landscaping
those
is,
trees. They're not permanent trees necessarily.
but landscaping is part of a site plan, for a commercial property. So Chris is aware, as
Yeah.
this is served as a learning experience for modifications to both the facade and site improvements are subject to review and approval by this committee and the commission.
And there were also mentions of LED lights like above on the east and west side where those wood panels are going to go, but temperatures aren't given that I could find. Maybe there's
Well,
reason.
yeah, if there's no signage that would be permitted here, there would be no lighting illuminating those panels.
So the lighting would be removed if there was just a panel without a sign.
Yes, there's no lighting existing.
Okay.
So there's glazed storefront behind those arborvitae that are standing there, whatever they are, right up against the building. And that's what they're proposing to cover in some kind of vinyl or what have you, messaging.
Yeah, here's that elevation, Matt.
Yeah.
They would
It
be
could be
these
the kind of
windows
perforated
here.
vinyl you see on buses. You can see out of the bus, but you can't see in.
Yeah,
That's
I
one, but-
think looking at that, we would likely consider that signage as well.
Yeah, I don't see the need to put anything on those windows. Personally, I think you could leave the trees unless they're causing some sort of problem. Or let people look in the building. I don't know what
Yeah.
anybody else thinks of that.
yeah, I
Matt,
think,
I'll make a motion to remove the arborvitae. I think the light in the building would be much more important than looking at an arborvitae that's not going to grow in that situation.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris, I just wanted to chime in. Is that going to be a service area behind those windows?
yeah. So that's why initially I had mentioned that's going to
Yeah,
be.
there's a bunch of machines.
Oh,
there.
so that's the
Yeah.
reason for the
That's
screening.
why.
Yeah,
And
it's
I also-
unsightly. It's a work area.
I also think I believe the decals are like coffee beans. It's not. I don't believe it's like Dunkin' lettering per se. It's like
Put some shades up.
No, it's a.
Can
Can
you
we just
see-
tint, yeah, can we just tint the
Yeah, I
glass?
was gonna
Tint
say,
the glass,
a
put
tint
some
would
shades,
probably
some
be,
contemporary looking shades.
Yep.
or-
But rather tint the glass than put any kind of thing on there that's
Yeah.
gonna be,
You could also just tint up from the windowsill up 1.5 feet and cover the backs of those machines, and then you could see into the
Yeah.
store.
Good point, Peter.
Yeah, you could do all kinds of things.
And John, those plants that are there, the arborvitae or whatever they are, those are like just dating the building as well,
They,
aren't
they really are. They're the wrong plant for the wrong area, Alex. So I think the building should probably sit, if there was any plant material around the building, it should be very low. Let the building come out of a low green area. Those plants are not helping the building out at all. And I like Peter's comment. If the working area of Dunkin' Donuts was a real problem to be viewed from the road, just screen that area, but allow the light to get in there.
yeah,
And the,
Yeah.
and the view out.
I agree. The continuity of the window is one of the things that barely, that helps hold the building together a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I think
Yeah.
I think just a tint would be good, or whatever you got to do, or a
Mhm.
blind but not images of coffee beans or, muffins or anything.
Right.
I don't
So,
think we need-
And if there's a glare, if the glare from the sun or for something is a problem, you can get those shades that they can be solved by getting shades that are drawn down from the top or from the bottom.
right. Okay, so just going back to the kind of laundry list of things again, because we're trying to give you guys as much help as we can, knowing you've got to sort of just go back and calculate and rethink some of this. So if we go back to, as far as the drive-through sign, I think we have some consensus that eliminating the logo on the drive-through sign is maybe advantageous just for simplification. I think that, Sean had, a good suggestion that it's really a wayfinding thing. And that might help him with some of his area if he needs it. I think that would be good. We talked about the signs on the panels on the side of the building.
Mhm.
So are those out in? 'Cause I'm taking notes. Right now, the Something Fresh or the Madison runs on. I mean, are you I mean, we could take the Something Fresh out and we could keep Madison runs on if there's allowable square footage.
Well, I think you guys have got to comp it all and tell us if you've got footage and you want to do it, then bring it to us. And then we'll be able to make a decision. Right now, we don't even really know that you can do it.
Right.
From what Aaron's saying, that's all. And I think what I've said, I know a lot of other people feel about it. I don't have a problem with adding the wood panel there, whether it has signage on it or not.
Right.
That's just me. I don't know about anybody else. So
No,
I
I think
agree
that looks
with that.
good. It's an
I
improvement.
agree.
It
I
cuts
wouldn't
down on
mind.
the
I
brick.
wouldn't mind what it says now if it's appropriate and it fits. But I do
Yeah.
agree with you on the other side, on the west side, that a nice just a panel to break up that big gray area would be appropriate.
right. I agree. The drive-through sign looks pretty straightforward and not like much of a change that, anybody that's obviously needed and
The clearance bar, is that something that's mandated by regulation or something? Because there's not one there now. Am I correct? Or is that,
No, there is an for the drive-through, you mean?
yeah, the
There
clearance?
is an
bar?
existing the drop down? I
Yeah.
think that's just
That's supposed to scare you into stopping.
The order
Yeah.
point canopy.
The
and
bang
the
bar.
overhang on the
Yeah, it's
building.
supposed to alert you.
But there's
Yeah,
not one there now, correct?
I don't know.
Right,
There's one
right
there.
where you talk into where you make your order, that structure, I think, has something on it.
Yeah, there is one there now, yeah. Well, there's a
There is.
canopy. There's a canopy there
Yeah,
now.
and it's also, they call it the gateway, and that's where it says the drive-through. It's telling people this is the drive-through lane, but if you don't, if you consider the drive-through signage, we just take the letters off.
I would agree with that.
clearance bar. It's not it's one of those things. It's kind of is it a sign or is it,
There's no question that
Wayfinding.
it's There's no question there's a drive-through because there's a sign at the drive-through entrance. So once you're there, you don't need to know you're in the drive-through.
yeah, we can take it off.
And you have residential houses right behind, so I think that the in fairness to those people, I think the less is more for them.
I think I've just dropped down to the very last page with the rendering. I'm looking at what Peter picked up on with that white facade panel.
Yeah.
And it looks like that southwest corner of the building just didn't get pochade to me. And I think that definitely ought to just be a continuation of the same color scheme.
The same gray.
It may actually be that it was just omitted accidentally. I'm not sure why they would want to highlight that.
It looks like a
white.
mistake.
Yeah,
Looks
it
like a
does,
mistake.
doesn't it? Because I think the sign really sets itself off with a white background in the middle and the front that way, so.
Okay. I just wanted to give you a quick heads up. I have to start a zoning board of appeals hearing meeting at 7:00, and so we're at 6:53 here. So I just wanted
think
to
we could
be
wrap it
able
up.
to.
I feel like we're in good shape
Yeah.
with this. Anybody
Wrap
else?
it up, Matt.
We're gonna jump off then. And Erin, you'll send me,
I will. I'll copy you and Chris tomorrow, give you the updated notes and the link, and we can go through the calculations and get a revised
all right,
proposal together.
sounds good. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump off then. Bye,
No,
everybody.
and thank you both for being very forthcoming and helpful with your suggestions. I think we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out next time you come back.
It'll be
All
fine.
right,
So,
thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Do we go to minutes now?
We're not done yet, Matt? Okay. Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
So moved.
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Have a good night, everybody.
Thank
Good night.